Hello minions, I'm Simon, also known as Geek13579 on Reddit and Discord. I'm a playtester for Brigand Games for the first upcoming game Arudia and also a longtime follower of the Crank It Up channel. Today on Unexpected Party, I'll be showcasing the combo of Sinister Six Sharks. I don't think anyone taught it this yet because, well, there are many expansions apart, they don't really share mechanics, and they have nothing to do with each other thematically. To explain why they're a strong pairing, we first have to look back on Sharks. Sharks have destruction that ultimately lead to the payoff of Hammerhead gaining power counters, and Blood in the Water, allowing them to play more minions, and Mako's being brought out for free. And that's not such a great payoff compared to what newer factions can output, especially ones in Smash Up Marvel, once they get a full hand. With this pairing, the Shark's destruction will instead serve to slow down the opponents so that we can pull off the Sinister Six's endgame, which is to stack up a bunch of base modifiers to reduce the breakpoint and win more efficiently. One of the most important thing that you'll often overlook while making your pairing is draw power, because as much as you can dream of two-card combos between two different factions, sometimes you may not draw into them or draw into them when it's too late. But with this pairing, you have four different cards which will let you draw an additional card every turn, which are two Weeks of the Shark, Mysterio, and My Master Plan. You will highly increase your odds of finding multiple Makos for a big play, and you can even pair them up with Cover the Exit or Pressure from all sides to make a very big drop. All the draw power should also ensure that you get both the cards that require having 19 or less breakpoint and cards that will enable you to lower a base's breakpoints, that your Sandman, your Reroute the Power, and my Master Plan won't be stranded with no effect. One of the most interesting but ultimately weak card for Sharks is Blood in the Water, which lets you play an extra minion of power 3 or less whenever a minion is destroyed. And why it's weak is because the Sharks don't really have a good target for it. Their Makos can play themselves out for free anyways, and you want the Hammerhead already out while the destruction occurs to gain power. The Sinister Six will offer you 8 minions that can be targets for this effect: the 2 Sandman, the 2 Green Goblins, the 2 Electro, and 2 Vultures. And particularly Sandman, Electro, and the Green Goblin have higher power or inflict breakpoint damage, and thus they'll get you closer to the base's breakpoint than just 3. Inside Panic is also an incredible card to have for Sharks. It patches up their weaknesses of destroying everything and then a Green Ranger or a Shinobi gets dropped. It allows them to destroy more targets with their destruction of power 3 or less, and it also slows down opponents who want to make big burst plays with multiple minions. If all their minions are decreased, they won't be able to steal a base from you as easily. In fact, it is so good, it may be the card you want to recur with the Vulture. Either way, the Vulture gets 5 extra play on base actions from this pairing, so he'll never be out of targets. Inside Panic may also be the card you use Move the Goods on. Even proactively, it's a good play because it can allow you to surprise kill a big unit with Megalodon or a weaker unit with a Great White that's stationed elsewhere. Speaking of which, Dangerous Waters is also a pretty interesting target for Move the Goods or to recur with the Vulture as a way to kill off big units if you're facing off against a deck that has an unusual lineup of minions. And finally, Witnesser Superiority is a sleeper great card for this pair because based abilities will be mostly positive and can give opportunities for your opponents to either rush you down if the homeworld is out, the central brain, Hala, the wooden horse, or exospace, which will be in the base deck if you use this pairing. Also, you can cancel out protection effects such as Avengers Tower, Converted Cave, or your greatest enemy, the Cave of Shinies. The weaknesses of these pairings are factions with many big units, such as the Avengers, the Princesses, or even the Luchadors with their Floor Locas that grow to 5s, and you will have to keep Blood in the Water for as long as you can against those. Also, factions that can use power counters or play on minion actions, such as cyborg apes or sumos, can get out of range of your destruction cards. Swarm factions are going to be an actually decent matchup because you should be able to draw enough cards to assemble your defenses before they can prepare a big play. It's very unlikely you'll be able to stop all their big plays, but then again, the goal of the game is to get to 15 points before them, not to stop them from winning any base, so you should be perfectly fine. Protection against destruction will be pretty annoying since you don't have any ways of destroying play on minion actions or play on base actions. But unless your opponents are playing the Bear Cavalry or are hate drafting against you, you should only have to worry about 2 to 3 cards, and your destruction strategy should be effective for most of the game. And finally, hilariously enough, the Polynesian Voyagers are a very strong counter to this pairing because they can add bases in play, which will spread your resources very thin in terms of play on base actions, and you lack movement to follow them around outside of air jaws. Since destruction is becoming fairly scarce in newer sets, this is one of the prime pairings to have a very rewarding control game, and which will allow you to turn tides on explosive swarm factions. Big thanks to Jim for letting me feature on this channel, and without further ado, let's shut it down.